everybody, today I am back with another perfect video about another perfect strategy for the Astra Militarum. This strategy I am naming the Unescapable Deathstrike Bombardment, or How I Learned to Stop Rowing and Love the Bomb. This will be a unescapable Deathstrikes that will decimate your opponent in turn 2, because obviously you can't shoot a Deathstrike in turn 1 because you have to waste a whole turn targeting it. The core of the whole basis of this will be that you have to rush your opponent as fast as you can in their deployment zone to lock them down so they can't really move away from the Deathstrikes. And the main strategy is just to pray and hope you go first. If you go first, you win. That's simple as that. And so let's get going. I'll go through this list. So the first thing we have is the Deathstrike. So if you read all the abilities, it says designated target. If this model does not have a Deathstrike target marker on the battlefield, place a Deathstrike target marker for this model anywhere on the battlefield. So basically you can't shoot the Deathstrike missile unless there's a Deathstrike marker on the battlefield. So you have to spend one of your turns putting a marker on the battlefield. So on the first one you have to designate the target. On the second turn you can actually shoot it. When you shoot the missile, it's a bit different than most other weapons, where it says instead of actually shooting it, you'll shoot the marker itself, and then any unit within 6 inches of that marker, which gives you a 12-inch circle, will be targeted for the attack. This will include friendly units and enemy units, so for our purposes, that's perfectly fine. We don't care if our guys say. It's got unlimited range, so that's pretty good. It does 2d6 attacks with blast, so any big squads, anything more than a 5, you'll get a few extra hits. It's ballistic skill 2+, which is perfect. You're pretty unlikely to miss. It has a strength 16, so pretty much any infantry you'll be wounding on 2+. And I think pretty much every single vehicle will wound it on a 3+. AP -4 will just go straight through most vehicles. And so the only real thing you have to watch out for would be invuns. It only does 1 damage per hit, but still pretty good. So usually how this would work is you'd put down a marker and then your enemy moves away from it, and then you put down another marker and they move away from it, and then you just kind of play cat and mouse and your Deathstrike never actually shoots. But as I said, our whole strategy is based around not letting the opponent move. So our first contender for this strategy will be the Rattlers. And I say, what? The Rattlers? Toughness 2? These guys will die immediately to a stiff breeze, and you are absolutely right. And we do not mind. So if you look at their abilities, they have infiltrators. So during deployment, if every model in the unit has this ability, they can set up anywhere on the battlefield outside 9 inches from the opponent. And some missions will also mess that up. So if you get one of those, sorry, but this whole thing won't work, and you have a pretty hard game. But usually what you'll do is you can put these down 9 inches away for your enemy's deployment zone, which is even in itself pretty good blocking. It stops them moving too close turn 1. But if you look at their ability, they have shoot, sharp, and scarper. So in your shooting phase, after this unit has shot, if it is not within engagement range of an enemy unit, it can make a normal move as if it were your movement phase. If it does, until the end of the turn, this unit is not eligible to declare a charge. So basically, you'll put them down 9 inches, then all the rest of the army goes down, whatever, turn 1. So during turn 1 movement, they're 9 inches from ready, so you move them another 6 inches to get them 3 inches from your opponent's deployment zone. Then you shoot their rifles, doesn't matter what you shoot at, but you'll shoot them, and then you get to make another 6-inch charge, 6-inch move. Basically putting them more than 3 inches into your enemy's deployment zone. Which will usually, if they put anything straight on the deployment zone line, then you'll be within movement blocking range of them. Like, they won't be able to move past you. And that's all you need. They've already done their job. Like I said, they'll die to a stiff breeze, and they won't have any second breakfast from that. You get to take 3 units of these for 5 models each, for total models of 15. And, you know, with optimal placement and, like, you know, strategic planning, which I don't even know what that means, but if you do all that, they have an optimal placement range, could give you a 13-inch block of all movement past them. So, it's pretty good. But then we need a little bit more. Like, that's not really enough, so we'll go to the next one. What's Ghosts? If you look at them, they also have infiltrators. And they have a, so you can put them up, like I said, pretty much just behind your Rattlings, just to give you a little bit more insurance, or a little bit more range. And if you look at their movement, they can also do a 6-inch move. But if you look at his orders, he can do 2 orders. He can do 2 orders to a regiment or a ghost unit. So they can order themselves. So give them move. You get another 3 inches. They give you a 9-inch move. Which, once again, I'll probably put you into your opponent's deployment zone. That's all you need to do. Then, you know, they still got some pretty good guns. You can shoot some good enemies. Do a little bit of damage before even Deathstrikes launch. Next up, we got Slime Arbor. So he's also an infiltrator, so 9 inches away. He's pretty much got the same ability as the Rattlings, so shoot, move, shoot, puts him in the deployment zone. And if his other ability, One Man Army, if your opponent, for whatever reason, decides to overwatch either him or someone near him, he gets to make a bonus 3-inch move. So, perfect. He gets in there and he's not very good blocking because he's pretty small, but, you know, he might do a little bit of something. Plug a hole somewhere. So after all that, you've got 3 units of Rattlings, 1 unit of Gaunt's Ghosts, 1 unit of Slime Arbor. That's 5 units in your deployment zone, in your opponent's deployment zone before they even shot at all. And then we go to the next one. We got Scout Sentinels. These guys will be good because they have Scout, 9 inches. So you set them up on your deployment zone line, and then once again, before the first turn, they get to make a move. So they can move up to X, in their case 9, so they can move 9 inches from your deployment zone. And then when your turn begins, you can give them another move, so they can move 10 inches. If you're lucky, you also put them in within range of Slime Arbor with that 9-inch move, and then he's got a 6-inch range, so he could possibly order 1, even 2 of those Sentinel squads or units to move, and give them an extra 3 inches, which would give them a 13-inch move. So basically, go end of deployment. Before turn 1, you do a 9-inch move. You then get an order from Gaunt's Ghosts, move, and then you do which gives you a bonus 3 inches for a total of 13 in your movement phase. So then you get to go 13 inches. That's 9 plus 13 is 22. You could even still charge them if you wanted to. But at that point, like, you're probably well within your opponent's deployment zone. But if you really want to, you can charge. And then just get them really in there. But yeah, that's pretty good. So now you've got, what is that? 3, 6, 7, 8 units in your opponent's deployment zone to really lock them down and stop any kind of running away. But next up, we got a little bit of something more. We got the Basilisk. Look at their ability. They have the Earth Shaker Round. This will debuff your enemy, which will reduce their movement, their advance, and their charge by 2 inches. Like, it says, you know, move characteristic and rolls by 2 and 2, but basically that's what it does. It stops movement, advance, and charge by 2 inches. And all you need to do to get that ability is score 1 hit, which on, you know, a BS4, which would probably be a BS3, but back to a BS4 because of indirect, you're pretty likely to get at least 1 hit. And then, you know, that whatever damage that does is just gravy. But that's all you want to do, is lock them down. You can take 3 of those. So, you know, you can you can potentially debuff 3 enemy units with your basilisks. Except you can also take Earthshaker Carriage batteries, who have the exact same ability, except they're not vehicles, but that doesn't really matter in this case. They would be hitting on a 5+ instead of a 4+, so they're a little less likely to be able to hit. Well, they're a lot less likely to hit, but, you know, all you have to do is get that one hit. They still have the blast keyword, so you get some bonus hits. You get some bonus attacks. You can take 6 of those, or 3 of those. So with the basilisks, you can potentially debuff 6 units from your enemy, which is perfect. So you got all those units in their deployment zone. You've reduced 6 of their units movement, a bunch. So they're not going to be running away very fast. And then we look at the Roundup. So, turn 1, you rush your enemy, limiting their ability to move. Further limit them with the Earthshaker rounds. They waste their turn 1 in their deployment zone. They can't move, can't run away. You then mark targets with the Deathstrikes. So, you can either just go for a wide area effect and pretty much strike their entire deployment zone, because remember it's a 12-inch circle, and most boards are 44 inches long, so you could pretty much get the entire deployment zone, because most, you can't set up most units in a single inch. Like, I'm sure some units will be able to snake away or whatever, but whatever you want to do, If there's an important target, or like a big group of targets, maybe instead of spreading them out, you want to just hit all 3 Deathstrikes in the same spot, and then you get to resolve each one of those attacks individually, because you're launching 3 different missiles. And, so you just stack them up, whatever you want to do. And then with this ability, I said, turn 1's very important. And that's true, but you do have a little bit of redundancy just in case, your opponent goes first. Because with the Sentinels, they move after you determine who goes first. So if your opponent's going first, obviously you won't want to rush your Sentinels up. Your Gaunt's Ghost and Slime Arbo both have Lone Operative, so unless they're within 12 inches of those units, they won't be able to shoot at them, which is good. So, you have to keep them hidden. Rattling Sniper, you might be able to overwatch with one of them and just kind of tuck them behind some cover to keep them a little bit protected. And like I said, that gives you a little bit of redundancy, and then hopefully on your turn, you can then rush and knock them down and launch your Deathstrikes. Just like, it won't be as effective because your opponent will be a little bit more spread out and probably clued into what you want to do. But that's alright. And in addition to all this damage, you're also doing the in addition to the Deathstrike damage, you're doing the damage from the units, you're doing the damage from the basilisks, and on top of all that, in this list, you can take 15 Hunter Killer Missiles for free, which is 9 on your Scouts, 3 on your basilisks, 3 on your Deathstrikes, which gives you even more damage against something like, any tanks they might have. Hunter Killer Missiles are pretty good at taking out tanks. And you got a lot of Hunter Killer Missiles. Because your Deathstrike, is pretty good, but it won't do a lot of damage against a 12 wound tank. But, those those Hunter Killer Missiles will definitely do a little bit of damage. And then we're on to the points roundup. So if you read all the points there, you got all your units stacked up there. This is with the updated points list. You've got exactly 1,975 points. And you're like, oh no, I'm short 25 points. You toss in a Cyclops. There we go. You got a perfect 2,000 point list. Just as Games Workshop intended. This is A grade, Games Workshop approved, point efficiency. I just love the idea that after everything you've done to your enemy, you've charged them, you've gone 2 rounds of Basilisk shooting, you've gone your Deathstrikes, there's probably 4 models left, and they're like, oh, hell yeah, we're still alive. They say, hey Sarge, we survived. We survived the charges, we survived the wave of artillery, we survived the Deathstrikes, and then they turn around and they see this tiny robot just slowly moving towards them, and they say, what the heck's that? And then the robot just moves up and goes, kaboom! Just takes them out. I think that's hilarious. And I've done a little bit of extra on this one. Just in case you're doubting me, this is a WTC map for, I think, 2021, but it's a WTC map. I've marked it out, so that's deployment zone blue, deployment zone red. Obviously, blue's yours zone, red's their zone. It's got all the inches up the top. So this is, maybe what your opponent has. This is just a Space Marine list that I found on Reddit. If this is your list, comment. But this is the list I found. This is what this person was intending on doing, taking a repulsor with a squad in it. So obviously the squad's going to protect it from your shenanigans, at least for a while. But this is just, I don't know how to play a Space Marine list, but I thought this might be decent enough placement. And this is how you deploy. So you got Deathstrike, 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 Basilisk, 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 Earthshaker. So, Earthshakers and Basilisks have like a 240 inch range, so it does not matter where you put them. Deathstrikes, like I said, also don't matter. The reason you want to forward deploy them is once they shoot their missiles, you have the opportunity to charge them. Or like move them forward and start taking objectives or whatever with them. And then there's your 9 inches away, you got all your stuff lined up, ready to go. And I tried to make all these circles actually scale to the map, so this should be about approximately how big everything would be. You got your scout sentinels back here, just raring to go. There we go. And then, so you move forward your whatever distance, 6 inches for everyone here. So you move forward your 6, which will take you there. So you're pretty close already. And then with the rattlings off shooting, you get to move them forward. So like I said, at that point you're pretty much in your opponent's deployment zone. You're already blocking some units. You then obviously you would do this in your movement phase, but I kind of separated it. So you can also move your sentinels forward, and then that's their scout move. And now this is their actual move. So you get to move them forward even more, which at that point your opponent cannot get out of the deployment zone. They're pretty much stuck. Like, maybe if they've got something that can fly, they might be able to squeeze a gap. But at that point, they're stuck. You then shoot all your Basilisks and Earthshakers. You choose a target. At this point, you just want to spread out the fire to get as much -2s and whatever you can. And then after all that, this is your opponent's turn. They've tried to move around or run around or whatever they're going to do. They've probably, at that point, they've probably killed all the Rattlings. They've killed what they can. And that's the end of their turn. And then it's time for the big hit. Deathstrikes. So that's taken out, like I said, pretty optimistic. I'm pretty optimistic about what they hit. But let's just say they killed all that stuff. And then they've only got, this much left. Then you still got, your scout sentinels to shoot into Redemptor. You got these things. You can still shoot all these Basilisks back here and take another round of shooting. After taking all that out, you've taken out the transport, then they've basically just got one squad left. And, then next few moves, you move scouts down there, your Deathstrikes can advance because they haven't got any rockets. And that's how it's gonna go. Like, you can't doubt me. I did it. This is exactly how this game would go. No way this could fail. I planned for every contingency. So, that's the end. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this very informative. This list will win you games, I assure you. Let me know if you do it. Take some photos, send it to me. Leave a comment, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back with another perfect list some point in the future. Goodbye.